Hey traders, it's the Crypto Cowboy. I wanted to take a look today at something rather interesting, and I'm not sure if I have a title necessary for today's episode for YouTube, but I wanted to talk a little bit about what it means to have multiple counts, multiple interpretations into a market, and how can you come up with the best interpretation possible that you have for a count, trying to follow the guidelines, the rules. And you're gonna have different different counts on any market that you look at, but all the time we try to come up with our best interpretation and try to put that forward as being your primary interpretation, and then everything else is kind of secondary. Now, as you do more and more of Elliott wave learning and you look at a lot of charts, things are going to come more natural to you, and you're going to be more inclined to kind of double gas and retest your count and look at it obviously as new data comes in. But one of the members into our crypto room that recently joined put up a very interesting question, and it's actually this coin. I don't know nothing about it. It's called RLC Tether, right? So it's something that I'm not very familiar with. I don't know what they do. I don't think it matters. But he put forward an interesting question, and he asked me to look at this count and say, hey, what do you think about this? Am I right? Do I follow the rules here? Is it something wrong with my count? And what do you think? So you can see on the left here is his count, and on the right is mine. And I'm not saying, this is, you should never do this, or my count is totally perfect. I could be very wrong in my approach. But I'm thinking this interpretation to the right, it's a better interpretation because it provides you, it follows the rules and the guides of the Elliott wave principle, and also, looks at it as being more of a, I think, in my view, accurate count. And again, I'm not dismissing what he did up here, but I wanted to kind of take it in and just look and see what's necessarily wrong and what's good with this count. So for example, what's good with this count is the fact that he identified here a nice impulsive move to the upside. So from these lows all the way to the highs here, we have a nice kind of trending impulsive move. We do have a couple of overlapping waves in here, but overall this looks like a clear nice impulse. What else he identified correctly in here? He identified, that we are having some kind of a corrective patterns in here, and these are against the trend. Obviously, there's another one that's in here, so these are all kind of totally valid and totally fine. So we are going with the proper ruling in here, and just looking what's impulsive and what's corrective. Now, let's take a look and kind of dive in this count and see where do I see some mistakes into this one. And for example, the first one that popped out at me when I look at the chart is every time I look at an impulse move, I'm trying to make sure that I have a five-way structure inside it. And then if I have a five-way structure inside that move, I want to make sure that that is following the rules. So for example, in this wave 5 that starts here and then goes all the way to the top, we are identifying a 5-wave advance, and so far it's good, right? You have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But if you look closely here, you will notice that this wave 3, it's the shortest wave of the sequence. Okay, so you have a wave 1, you have a 2, you have a 3, you have a 4, and then you have a 5. So looking at this without even measuring these waves, I can notice that this wave up here is the shortest wave. So that is a rule violation in the wave principle that says that wave 3 can never be the shortest wave of the sequence. It does not have to be the longest, but it cannot be the shortest. If this wave, it would have stayed like that, you would have had a 4. This 5th wave would have to be smaller than this wave 3 to be an accurate wave count. So if this wave 3 cannot be the shortest, that means that this thing up here, it's incorrect, this whole move. Okay, so now, how do you go back from this mistake and try to realign your count to fit on a bullish view that you have from the lows all the way to the highs? And the way we do that is, if this is not a 3 and this whole move here is impulsive, then what if this is a third wave? This whole thing here. Okay? And then you have a fourth, and then you have a 5. And if this is a 3, then this must be a 2. And then this must be a 1. Okay? Now, am I totally happy with this interpretation? Not 100%, because this wave 4, it's smaller than this wave 2. It's a guideline, but I'm not breaking any rules in here. So I'm going with this as my preferred impulse move to the upside, as this being kind of the largest sequence in here as a third wave. And I like how it's split. So if I go back and I look at it, and if you see up here in my chart, you go and you see a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4, and a wave 5 for this third. Okay, and then you have a nice zigzag in here as a fourth wave, and then you're pushing up higher on 5, and then this is a wave 1 in here, and then you have a wave 2. You have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now this identifying, so this is what you do when you double check. Okay, so if this is this is kind of the largest correction in here, so I'm kind of happy to place a wave 2 on here. Now, what happens from the lows to the high? So the way he did it was, hey, this is a 1 and a 2, so we're good here. And then this is another 1, and we have another 2 in here. Now, to place wave 1 on top here and to have a wave 2 here, this means that this has to be a flat in a 3-wave, A, B, and C. And I think I'm fine. The only problem that I have is that this wave 2 is larger than this wave 2 correction in here. So I have a little bit of a violation of a degree. So anything, there's a guideline that says that anything that's of a lower degree should not be higher in magnitude and time, over the same degree, over the same wave, but of a lesser degree. So if you have a wave 1, 2, the second 1, 2 cannot be larger than the second wave. Now, there are people out there that count this as a 1, 2, 1, 2, but I think, even though it's a guideline, and not a rule, so you're not breaking anything, but it's just in terms of the right look, I'm trying to avoid this. And then kind of going back to, what is your best interpretation going forward by following the rules and the guidelines, this would be a no. So I'm going back and saying, well, if that's a no, then how can I get this as a corrective pattern, moving to the upside, and how can I come up with a valid count? So what I did is I did this as a leading diagonal. Okay, so you go, remember there is different ways to come from the lows, impulsively, actually in a motive wave, and one of those ways it's a leading diagonal, but you have to make sure that it fits and it follows the rules and the guidelines. So if I go in a wave 1, right, wave 1 is the largest, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5, and I have a leading diagonal in here, right? So wave 3 is smaller than 1, and wave 5 is smaller than wave 3, wave 4 is smaller than wave 2. So this fits nicely. I like this as a leading diagonal, and then you have a pullback here in this wave 2. Now you have a sharp rise here as a third wave, which she identified correctly. So this is a correct move in here. And then what I have in this fourth wave, that it's pretty much, let me see, okay, he got this as a fourth, but my fourth wave actually finishes up in here through a triangle, right in here, okay? So, and that gives me a top of this wave 1. So I go in a leading diagonal in a wave 1, I have a wave 2, I have a sharp rise here in a third wave. Now, because fourth wave cannot come in the area of a wave 1, placing this fourth wave here is not accurate, because then we're entering the territory of the wave 1. So the way we do that is you go in an A down in there, right? You have a wave A in here, you have a wave B, you have a wave C, you have a wave D, and then you have a small wave E in here, and that's your triangle up in fourth, and then you sneak up here in a wave fifth, and then you correct lower. All right, so take a look at that and say 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Wave 3, it's smaller than wave 1, but it's not the shortest wave in the sequence. So I'm not breaking any rules up there, right? I go in a 1, I go in a 2, I have a 3, I have a sideways in 4, and I have a very small fifth wave on there. Okay, I'm not coming in the territory of the wave 1 with the wave 4, so everything matches nicely. All right, so that's why I'm looking at this as being more preferred than something as a 1, 2, 1, 2. Then you have a 3. Then you have to do another flat in 4 here. And again, this move from the highs to be a flat, you have to look at it as a 3-wave move because that's the largest and not a 5-wave decline. Okay, so that's why this is a B, C and not wave C of an A, B, C. Okay. So I'm trying to make a few points clear here. I'm not saying, you have to try different things, but you have to look at it as multiple alternates and see what's your best interpretation, okay? And follow the rules, the guidelines. All right, so then from there you go up, you have a wave 2 down, and now we're going in a 1 and another 2 here, right? So again, in terms of a 1, 2, 1, 2, I'm kind of similar on the moving here. I'm not breaking, even though this wave 2 is a little slightly larger, but I'm not massively larger than this wave 2. This wave 2 doesn't come here, something like this, for a 1, 2, 1, 2. So now, the fact that I have a 1, 2, 1, 2 also leads to a larger third wave advance in here, right? Because that's what usually follows after a 1, 2, 1, 2. You have a sharp rise in price. Okay, so that's that third of a third that we're looking for. 1, 2, 1, 2, third of a third, and this whole thing is actually a 3 matching this wave 1, and then you have what is this? A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is just a simple zigzag, which he identified here as an A, B, C. Now, mind you, by the time I've had the chart and I looked at it, we were already making new highs. So maybe it would have been, it was easier for me to place this as a wave 4. Now, remember, on this one here as a WX, wave X usually goes to the wave B highs of the first zigzag in here. So if you have an ABC, usually wave X travels all the way up there, and then you correct lower in the wave Y. Okay, so now what I think it's happening is a 1, 2. So you have this third, you have this fourth in here, and now we're doing this fifth wave advance, and I have a 1, 2, another 1, 2 in here. And then this is a third of a third, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 4, and 5 to complete this larger sequence. And then we'll see. Okay. Now, how can you look at this? For example, if you want to stay bullish and look at this thing as being, well, what if this whole thing is a second wave and this is a wave 1 and we're actually going to the moon on this one? Okay. Now, can you come up here with an interpretation that says you have a nice, clean 5-wave sequence into this leg that tells you this is actually a wave 1. So how do you start to do that? I don't have a way to do this as a leading diagonal. Can you go, can you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5? Does this come into this area of wave 1? Let's check it out. So I think we have a small penetration in there. So let me just kind of look at it. Maybe not. Maybe not. So let's say that that's fine. So you go in a 1, 2. So now this whole thing here is a 3. Do I have a 5-wave move on there? I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's kind of stretching it. 1, 2, 3. And then you have a 4, and then you have a wave 5 in here. Okay, so that would be wave 1 of this whole advance. This would be a 2. Now remember, I need 5 waves in here. So then I would have to do this as a 3, so I can have a 4 and a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is a 3. This is a very small 4 and a 5. All right, so that's a 2. That's a 3. That's a 4. And that's a 5. Okay, so you can do something like this if you wanted to. So you have an extended first wave 1 up, okay, and then you have a second wave pullback. You have a sharp rise in here in a third wave. You have a smaller fourth and a fifth, or this is a 1, and then this whole thing here is a 2. So if Marquez decides to fully break to the upside, and this is just a second wave, then I would have to switch to this interpretation. But until then, I want to stay a little bit more conservative and look at this as a fourth wave, this as a fifth, and allow for the market then to do a second wave pullback. So again, it's not an invalid count, but it's not my preferred interpretation. Okay, this is my preferred interpretation because this allows, for a cleaner third wave advance, a fourth wave in here that's a little bit bigger than this wave too, and it's just just looks better overall. So I am not, there's nothing, I'm not talking negative about this count. It's there's a couple of mistakes in here that have been made, and it's totally fine. But that's why I'm presenting this, and we're learning. And if you guys have any other counts you want me to look at or to digest, I'm happy to do so. Come back into our room, and I'll try to find time to look at them if I do. Or if there's something that's interesting or it just jumps my eyes. Come and visit us into the pro room. Give us a try. We look at cryptos, at forex, at equity markets. We look at metals, gold, silver, all this other stuff, and we trade as well. And I try to help my clients every day by looking at their accounts and presenting mine, and having alternates, and just making traders better at Elliott Wave. All right, so thank you for watching. Give me some thumbs up if you think this was informative, and we can rise the content in the channel. Hit the subscription button and the bell, and leave your comments. And I'm glad to have you, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.